Hey, what's up guys? Today I'll show you a 3D anthology horror film, 3 AM. Spoiler ahead, watch out and take care. 3 AM consists of 3 stories. The first story is named The Wig. 2 sisters are running a wig shop together. The girl Mint is not serious about her job, but the sister May is faithful. They are not on good terms with each other, and quarrel is a daily norm. One day, May purchases some hair of good quality from a retailer. While May weighs the wigs, Mint shows up to vent her unhappiness and leaves in angst. Distracted, May does not notice there is some movement in the carrier. But the dog beside her keeps barking, as if it senses some danger. May drives the dog away, and takes out the wig for weighing. In fact, this particular wig is real hair cut off from a female corpse. The person who cut it off is doomed. Unaware, May continues to weave the wig. A wet and green hand approaches her from the back. In a pinch, a staff walks in, and the hand vanishes. May finishes her work late at night. She washes up, but finds her nose bleeding. She quickly wipes it away, but the basin is choked up, and water cannot go down. May digs out a strand of hair from the pipe. However, a strange noise comes from the pipe. Curious, May moves closer to it. All of a sudden, 2 fingers stretch out from the pipe, and cling to the basin. May screams in terror, and retreats to the door. But the disgusting hand follows her, and gets even nearer to her face. Fortunately, she realizes it is only a nightmare. She hears some noises going around, and traces them. It turns out that Mint is partying with her friends. Relieved, May resumes work, and Mint enjoys the party. The guy back hair tells ghost stories to entertain the rest. Soon all wine is emptied. Mint and the guy gold hair proceed to bring more alcohol. Sometime later, neighbors complain about the noise. May reluctantly rebukes them, and turns off their music. A fierce argument sparks off. Mint throws the wig to the floor and commands gold hair to return it. At about 3 AM, gold hair reaches the room, and lights go out. Statues lining up on the shelves, making it really creepy at night. Gold hair strolls around the shop, while the female ghost stares at him, posing as a statue. A shadow swiftly moves across. Sensing it, gold hair turns around, but he finds nothing wrong. When he continues exploring, the wig is getting strange. Right then, a hand sticks out from the wig, and pokes into his eyes. Gold hair lets out painful screams, which are heard by the rest. Immediately, they go downstairs for him. However, it is pitch dark, and nobody is found. Taking it as a prank, Mint turns on the torchlight of her phone to search gold hair. In the meantime, May finds something unusual on her feet, and summons Mint. Under light, they discover a pool of blood beside her feet. Tracing the blood, they see the head of gold hair on the shelf, with one eye gouged out, and bleeding. Scared to shit, they collapse on the floor. What's scarier, the ghost is staring at them right in front. All of them flee to the main entrance as soon as possible. Shockingly, the door is already locked. Mint is desperate to evade the haunted house, but she cannot locate the key. Back hair grabs the key from her, and breaks it. Now that the lock is faulty, they hurry to break it with tools. As soon as the blue sweater girl gets hold of a wrench, the ghost appears. Mint shouts out to them that they must stay together. Otherwise, they will run into great trouble. Immediately after, a girl in blue sweater, short-named Blue, cries out loud. Black hair rushes over, and finds her on the floor, begging for help. Mint and May also arrive, but do not dare to enter. They try to pull Blue aside, but to no avail. Under her clothes, the ghost stretches out her hand. The remaining 3 let go at once. Seconds later, Blue is dragged back, and slams on the door. She is then thrown up to the wall, and falls down. The trio escape to the rooftop. But May begins to hallucinate. Mint pulls her along, but May is tripped over by a wig, and again unconscious. Mint instructs Back hair to leave first, and she will wait for May to recover. Back hair painstakingly walks through the flying hair, not knowing that the ghost is just nearby. Soon after, Back hair is attacked and bleeds profusely. He screams in pain. 2 siblings are walking towards him, but are turned back by his miserable death. May and Mint stumble to the drawing room. After Mint steps out, the door slings closed, and lights go off. The ghost approaches May from the back. May does not dare to move an inch. Mint immediately bangs against the door. However, by the time she enters the room, May is trapped in the dryer, and her nose bleeds. No matter how hard Mint tries, she cannot open the dryer. As they hit the glass, it cracks. Along with May's cry, The glass bursts and shatters. The impact knocks Mint down. When Mint awakes on the second day in a complete mess, her parents return, but they do not notice her. May runs past Mint to hug them. Mint then realizes she was stabbed dead by a piece of broken glass, and May is possessed by the ghost. The second story is called Bride. A young couple were killed before their wedding, and their corpses were kept in a mansion. A brave young man, short named Brave, is hired to safeguard the dead. According to rules and regulations, he has to offer food sacrifice at the appointed time, and he cannot open the coffin or enter their bedroom. The nurse brings him around and informs him of the do's and don'ts. Curious, Brave proceeds to the forbidden bedroom right after the nurse leaves. After he falls asleep, things on the bedside table begin to move, and a woman's laughter is heard. It is obvious some dark secrets are buried in the mansion. At night, Brave awakes and offers sacrifice. Suddenly, a lizard drops onto the bride's coffin and crawls inside it. Brave lifts up the coffin lid and sees the bride's body. Fascinated by her beauty, Brave fixes his eyes on her. He finds the lizard going into the bride's gown. After much thought, he lifts up the dress with his hand. At this moment in time, the groom's coffin shifts position and crashes onto the bride's. Shocked, Brave closes the lid and shifts the groom's coffin back to its rightful place before he rests in the bedroom. He then takes out a box from the drawer of the bedside table. Many things drop out, and a broken piece falls under the bed. Brave searches it to no avail. Little does he know that the piece vanishes. He explores the television and discovers a videotape that cannot be played. Turning on the camera, he finds many photos of the bride. At first, she looks happy, but in the latter photos, she looks rather strange. There is bloodstain near the bedside table. Brave imagines that bride must be abused by the groom. Alerted by some noise outside, he spots a thread beside the door. He gets hold of the thread and follows its direction. As he pulls it, the thread sewn on the bride's chest breaks open. Brave is shocked that the thread is stained with blood, and the bride is standing before him pleading. Unexpectedly, the groom grabs her away. Brave opens his eyes to confirm it is a dream. The videotape gets played, and Brave is angry to see the bride being tied up. He storms to the coffins. Bride's coffin is opened, and there is a blood scar on her neck. In a fury, he moves the groom's coffin before the Buddha statue and ties it up with a white thread. And then he carries the bride to the bedroom and unties her gown. Like a lover, he sleeps with her, brings her out for sunbathing, and cleans her body. That night, he is awakened to a loud sound and walks to the groom's coffin. Groom's body is missing. He finds nothing different in the room. Before he leaves, he hears a heavy breath. A hand touches him. Scared, he flees the room. Back to the bedroom, the bride is gone. Mistaking that she is snatched away by the groom, Brave roars in anger. Suddenly, the windows shake violently. He moves back, and a hand pulls him under the bed by his ankle. Brave struggles to crawl out, but the missing piece of glass is stabbed right into his leg and tears his flesh apart. He crawls out of the bedroom in pain and sees the groom's body. The videotape reveals what happens. The bride has a tendency towards self-abuse and often injures herself. So the groom used to tie her up for better control, but owing to her plea, he frees her. Once released, the bride pushes the groom away and breaks the music box. She murders the groom with a piece of glass and commits suicide. Later, the time turns 3 a.m. Bride appears. She is pale and ugly. The film ends with Bride trapping Brave in her coffin, sitting on top, and singing a wedding song. We can learn from this story that it is clearly unwise to have any affair with a married woman. The third story, named OT, begins with a bunch of young people having overtime at the company. The couple man and woman leave in pair. While passing by the security guard, man mischievously draws on his face. At the lift lobby, they hear weird sounds and runs to the stairs in terror. The girl in turn is left in the company. She is a live streaming influencer, trying to please her fans with sexy shots. Suddenly, an item falls off the table behind her. And then, all the chairs turn to face her, and the monitors light up one by one to play music. Terrified, in turn flees the office. The vacant office is filled with laughter. It turns out to be a hoax by two bosses. Boss in stripes nicknamed Mr. Stripes, and boss in shirt nicknamed Mr. Shirt, love to make fun of others. Recently, many staffs relax in daytime and stay back to get OT subsidies. The two bosses want to scare their shit off. After in turn goes, they return to their office. Mr. Stripes bends down to pick up something, and gets up to see a horrid face. In fear, his heart almost falls out. Mr. Shirt removes the mask and laughs at his timidness. Walking out, Mr. Shirt finds a chair turning towards him. He ignores it, but the chair chases after him. At first, he thinks Mr. Stripes sets it up, but it is from man and woman. In fact, they sneak back to stage revenge. But Mr. Shirt is not scared at all. Having failed, man and woman decide to continue with OT. Mr. Shirt also draws on the security guard's face on his way out. Sometime later, man and woman take leave. Now the office is empty except Mr. Stripes. Following some strange noises, he moves to the pantry and finds a ghostly shadow. Fearless, he switches on the light and realizes it is nothing but a mop. At this moment in time, the fridge begins to shake. He steps forward to kick the door, speculating that Mr. Shirt hides inside the fridge. Mr. Shirt, however, just enters the room with some food. He gives Mr. Stripes a portion and departs. Mr. Stripes feels weird and also intends to go. But the fridge door swings open suddenly, and a lady with her face covered by hair crawls out. She stretches out her hand, wanting to hold Mr. Stripes. Mr. Stripes flees immediately, but bumps into a guy with an eyeball falling out and bleeds profusely. Mr. Stripes faints in terror, and then Mr. Shirt removes his mask. This time it is staged by the three of them. Man approaches Mr. Stripes to check his condition, and finds him dead. Woman cannot bear with the loss. Mr. Shirt stops them from overreaction, and orders them to go home. Having said that, Mr. Shirt leaves. Woman discovers that Mr. Stripes opened his eyes. When she helps to close his eyes, her hand is grabbed. Mr. Stripes stand up to laugh nonstop, cheering for the success of his naughty scheme with woman. Soon, there is another round of noise. Mr. Shirt commits suicide, for he thinks that he kills Mr. Stripes. When they are at a loss, Mr. Shirt speaks up, revealing another prank. Woman is frustrated by so many pranks in a day. 30 minutes prior to 3 a.m., the four of them leave the company. Mr. Shirt realizes he forgets to do something important, so they detour to put sticker on the fridge. Man searches for tapes, but finds Mr. Stripes lying dead. His head is nailed through, and blood fills the spot around him. It's revealed that when Mr. Stripes was scared by Mr. Shirt's hoax, he pushed down many items on the table, and was nailed to death. This sends a shiver down the remaining trio, as they wonder who was playing with them after Mr. Stripes died. While they tremble in fear, Mr. Stripes approaches the office. They cuddle together. Right then, lights go out. The trio turn on the torchlight on their phones. Suddenly, Mr. Stripes shows up before them, holding a phone in his hand. They flee to the door, only to find it locked. Man wants to find its key, and drags woman along. The printer gets started out of thin air, and prints down many copies of Mr. Stripes' photos. One photo covers man's face. When he removes it, Mr. Stripes is leaning on the printer. Man and woman flee into the office to find key. However, Mr. Stripes does not give a chase. But woman later discovers something scarier, that Mr. Shirt lies dead on the floor. It turns out that when he pretended to hang himself, he died of it. Man and woman decide to evade the office, but Mr. Stripes staggers in. They scream out loud, and flee into the stairs. Shockingly, woman picks up her own shoe. In the office, Mr. Stripes finds Mr. Shirts to conclude their series of pranks. When it almost turns 3 a.m., they take the lift, where man and woman are waiting for them. Mr. Stripes' phone rings. It is from the secretary. Mr. Stripes shivers on the spot. Mr. Shirts grabs his phone, and also feels unease. It is because man and woman are real ghosts. During their hoax, they fell off the stairs and died. One of woman's shoes is left there. And her leg broke. That is why she stumbles. The phone slips off Mr. Shirt's hand, and they stand in fear. In the end, man and woman grab their hand each while the lift drastically plunges. This is Daniel CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.